Why should I trust you? You're always tricking me into going places I don't wanna. Oh, you said we were going to a place Walt Disney built.
No, Peter, I said supported.
What an idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea what she's doing.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business.
I didn't enjoy Snow White. The main reason for this is that the actress who plays Snow White portrays the character in a way that feels overly dramatic and exaggerated throughout the movie.
Weird.
Weird. I don't need your business.
I say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
And everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
I don't need your business. Thanks.
Hollywood must feel as though it's just emerged from a 3-year binge, only to realize that its carefully crafted feminist agenda is now being unceremoniously tossed aside by the very audience it had confidently believed would embrace it. This realization hit when the live-action Snow White finally stumbled into theaters on the spring equinox of 2025, only to quickly seek out the nearest fainting couch as ticket sales plummeted, making a splash harder than a toddler diving into a hotel pool.
So much fun it should be illegal. By copyright infringement. Ho-ho! See you at the game, Joel! Ho-ho!
Rumor has it that within a single humiliating fortnight, whispers crawled through fan forums.
The rumor mill suggests that within the span of a single, utterly humiliating fortnight, whispers began circulating through fan forums, claiming that AMC had discreetly pulled showtimes after matinee screenings started looking more like private viewings for stray popcorn kernels. In corporate speak, that's basically a code for pulling the plug before the memes fossilized and cemented this disaster into pop culture history. Meanwhile, Disney's accountants were allegedly attempting to stifle their tears with souvenir apples, all while muttering that a theatrical flop is just a stepping stone to boosting streaming numbers. Enter Rachel Zegler, who has boldly declared herself the savior of a story she constantly refers to as sexist, irrelevant, and downright creepy.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I am the Snow White now.
These words might carry more weight if she weren't collecting princess-sized checks from the very same studio that built its empire on that unsettling animated classic. Months ahead of the premiere, she paraded down every red carpet live stream, repeatedly claiming the original plot was just weird, as if Walt himself had instructed a stalker to kiss a comatose patient in full IMAX. That performative eye roll didn't sit well with nostalgic fans who regard Snow White as the very foundation of animation. Telling these die-hard fans that their childhood treasure is trash is akin to barging into grandma's kitchen, spitting directly into her apple pie, and then demanding seconds.
This is not Snow White, but this is the movie that they made, and it's like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a girl boss, she's gonna liberate her kingdom. Well, congratulations, you played yourself. This is what you get when you try to push feminism and bullshit girl boss moves on the people.
It takes an Olympic level of arrogance to burn down the very film that made your career possible in the first place. Yet Rachel did just that, setting the flames with a grin, almost daring critics to roast marshmallows over Disney's crumbling goodwill team Vogue. Speaking of goodwill, Disney's marketing team decided to rewrite the Seven Dwarfs out of the narrative entirely, because apparently, nothing says inclusivity like erasing the very characters whose presence offered a rare opportunity for mainstream representation of dwarfism. Their brilliant solution? To replace the joyful miners with an awkward group of magical creatures who resembled a casting call for a bargain bin Lord of the Rings prequel that no one asked for.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple.
A wishing apple? You offer it to me freely.
In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not, First Love's kiss can break any curse.
Peter Dinklage's outspoken critique about stereotypes seemingly rattled the studio, so much that they detonated the entire subplot. Yet somehow, the backlash only intensified. Dwarf activists felt ignored, traditionalists felt cheated, and casual viewers were left baffled, wondering why Snow White was now hanging out with a random, budget cosplay ensemble that looked like a Screen Rant audition. As all this brand image repair was unfolding, Family Guy casually waltzed onto network television and, in under 30 seconds, delivered the kind of sharp, unfiltered satire that a billion-dollar PR department would pay a fortune to suppress. A roller coaster car labeled Disney stock plunges in flames. Broken animatronic princesses flicker under a neon sign that reads, "Woke Land. Chef's Kiss." Nothing reveals corporate vulnerability faster than Peter Griffin laughing his head off at it.
She is crapping on the original production. I was scared of it. Oh, it was so weird. It was a stalker. Like, I feel like if you are taking on the most iconic Disney role ever, genuinely, like this was the most prolific Disney film, I feel like you should kind of have some sort of reverence.
During prime time, viewers across the board tossed popcorn at their screens in approval, while Disney executives, who prefer their bitter pills wrapped in sugar, suddenly found themselves facing an audience that realized fart joke cartoons can still deliver harsher truths than polished corporate press releases. But just when you think the fiasco has reached its peak chaos, the rumor surfaced that multiple AMC locations had quietly pulled Snow White showings after the second weekend, because attendance had dipped so low it was barely above the level of maintenance crew doing their late-night checks. No press release, no grand exit, just showtimes disappearing like dwarfs on witness protection. Online detectives posted screenshots of these schedule gaps and gleefully declared it the first princess casualty in the go woke, go broke narrative of geek culture. Whether the chain actually pulled the film nationwide or simply shuffled it to broom closet time, slots barely matters.
Disney, despite losing over $1 billion on their last 4 movies, as they continue to shove woke politics into people's faces, who just want to go to the movie, laugh, cry, and go home. Look, people don't want to be lectured when they're watching a movie, and they certainly don't want to be told that they're bad people. But that's what Disney continues to do.
I love what you said about wanting to entertain audiences. Critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means, and one could argue that sometimes it's used too liberally. That said, our primary purpose is to entertain, and where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world, but the first thing we need to do is entertain.
The idea that even the theaters themselves had lost patience became the punchline. Audiences love a good train wreck, and Disney generously provided yet another spectacular derailment right in front of everyone's smartphone cameras. Somehow, amidst this carnival of self-inflicted damage, the House of Mouse stuck to its straight-faced claim that Snow White was always meant to be a bold reimagining for empowered 21st century audiences. Translation: they gambled the castle on the belief that fans would cheer being lectured about how outdated dwarfs, kisses, and happy endings are. Instead, comment sections erupted with side-by-side images, comparing the bright Technicolor magic of 1937 to the dreary, color-graded gloom of 2025. One viral meme even showed the original princess singing with bluebirds, while the new one scowled at a CGI crabapple with the caption, "From fairy tale to despair tale." If you're laughing right now, hit that like button faster than Disney can call for another reshoot. This channel thrives on your schadenfreude. Unlike certain studio stock prices.
This is their policies coming back to bite them. They went woke.
Yeah.
She went out and said stuff woke that was going to hurt the film. They couldn't come out and go against her because then you're going after somebody for saying what you say you believe.
Naturally, Disney insists that the box office plunge is simply a stepping stone on the way to a grand Disney Plus streaming debut later this summer. Sure, why worry about theatrical embarrassment when you can quietly recover losses behind a paywall and pretend the entire disaster was a clever pivot toward a digital strategy? However, even investors are starting to feel uneasy. Pundits have pointed out that the animation giant once relied on timeless classics to print money. Now, those same classics seem to have become the studio's own ball and chain. Snow White's delayed release already cost an additional year of marketing oxygen, an essential resource for Disney's operations, and the final product still limped out of post-production looking completely drained.
Yeah, the entire film's about a love story. Yeah, I mean, it's about a love story because that's what the point of the film is, and I'm sorry that chivalry in a man pursuing you is now deemed as stalking, which now it's kind of making sense why men are opting out of the dating scene.
Imagine spending hundreds of millions of dollars only to watch your remake trend on social media alongside hashtags that compare it to a MySpace fan film. Rachel, for her part, remains unfazed, or so her publicists keep tweeting. Every time a microphone is shoved in her face, she doubles down, reinforcing just how thrilled she is to modernize a story she openly dislikes. One interviewer asked if she was concerned about alienating legacy fans. She simply shrugged and reminded everyone that women don't need princes, and certainly don't need dwarfs mining anything on their behalf. That answer might earn applause in some lecture halls, but moviegoers generally prefer a hero's journey over a lecture tour. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot, who gleefully chews the scenery as the evil queen, has reportedly mastered the 1,000-yard stare of an actor who's realized that her press tour is less about glamorous gowns and more about apologizing for the film's very existence.
This girl took the money and then decided that she wanted to go out there and, you know what, I'm going to take my stand. Well, you should have made that stand before you took the money to promote a film, because that's not in line with your job description.
Some defenders claim the backlash is nothing more than conservative rage bait, ignoring the multicultural casting of a princess as white as snow. While it's true that bigots tend to troll anything that moves, many critics with progressive credentials still agree that the remake's most egregious flaw is its storytelling and competence, dressed up as empowerment. After all, representation should add depth, not take away from the heart of the story. Replacing dwarfs with generic forest roommates and swapping romance for corporate-approved leadership workshops creates a story that neither old fans nor new audiences asked for. It's like remastering Beethoven's Fifth Symphony into a kazoo quartet, and then wondering why ticket buyers revolt. Still here? Good, because the third act chaos gets even juicier. Internal leaks suggest the visual effects budget ballooned when executives demanded last-minute, make it more magical tweaks, which led to reshoots, rewrites, and late-night green screen sessions that had the cast and crew in a caffeinated frenzy. Rumors also hint that at least one test screening ended with polite golf claps, followed by a stampede for the exit, prompting frantic re-edits that only further muddied the plot. It's no wonder theaters may have ditched the film before the popcorn had time to settle. By now, Disney's once impeccable brand discipline seems more like a melted Mickey bar sliding down Main Street. So, where does the fairy tale formerly known as Snow White go from here? Chances are, Disney will slap a cult favorite misunderstood by critics label on it, bundle it with a limited edition steelbook, and hope collectors redeem a fraction of that massive budget. Rachel will move on to her next project, now armed with a new skill, the art of negative PR judo. The dwarfs will remain MIA, perhaps replaced by a focus group spin-off about magical creatures who unionize against toxic fans.
So Snow White slept and waited for her prince to come, but he never did. Because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor. And she lived happily ever after? Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball, but otherwise, she was fine. That's nice.
Meanwhile, we, the Snark Brigade, will continue munching on metaphorical popcorn and refreshing stock trackers for our daily serving of corporate pie and face. If you think Hollywood has finally realized that nostalgia exploitation is a risky game, ask yourself, when was the last time a major studio let an old brand peacefully rest? Exactly. The remakes will keep rolling in, and so will we, armed with buckets of sarcasm and full-throated cackles. So, let me know in the comments, what classic do you think Disney will modernize next? And how catastrophically will they misjudge it? Drop your predictions. And if you enjoy watching billion-dollar empires trip over their own cynicism, make sure to stick around, because the next meltdown is likely already being storyboarded, and our roast will be served piping hot. Until then, stay cynical, stay curious, and remember, happily ever after is optional when shareholders demand a sequel.